Hey everyone and welcome back. So in Angular for the last couple of years, if you wanted to conditionally show an element or loop over a list, then you had to use something called structural directives, which is our ngIf and our ngFor. So we use them with the asterisk signs, okay? So they work perfectly fine, but they always had some frustrating issues, like you always need an extra wrapper element or some extra syntax for handling our else cases or even our empty cases. But with the new upgrade, the modern Angular, everything is changed. So in this video, we are going to dive into Angular's new built-in control flow syntax, which are @if and @for. So I'll show you side-by-side comparison of the old way versus the new way. And you'll see how this new syntax is more cleaner, powerful, and even better for your app's performance. So let's get started. Okay, so to understand the differences, I've set up a brand new minimal Angular project, as you can see here. So we are going to work entirely in our app component file, okay? So inside this, I've created two simple properties. So one is a boolean. So this boolean I've created to manage our toggle visibility, okay? And we have got an array of users, which you can see. So we have got objects inside with our ID and our name, okay? So we need this array of users in order to compare our ngFor directive, okay? And this is logged in is to test our ngIf, okay? Basically now which we call @if and @or. And you can see we have also created a version of the empty users, this one, to handle our @empty case, okay? So after this, you can see we have got this toggle login method, this one. Basically this will just set our is logged in as the opposite value. So if it's true, it will set as false, vice versa, okay? Perfect. So our setup is done. So now let's look at the two common scenarios and compare the old directive based approach with the new built-in syntax. Okay. So first we'll go in our HTML, and inside this I'll remove all of these bits first of all, and we will start with our @ngIf directive. So I'll show you the old way first. So you can see I've already got the code, and in the beginning already you can see to use our ngIf directive we need to have our common module here inside this, otherwise it won't work. So now only you'll see the errors are gone, okay? So starting with our ngIf directive, so you can see we have got a welcome message here to show that we use our old ngIf, okay? And we use is logged in property. If this is true, then we show, otherwise you use else block, and we show all the content of else inside this logged out block, okay? So this logged out block we have got here. For that we use our ng template to show, because without that we cannot show else. So we use ng template, and inside this we have this. So you can see this is all getting a bit cluttered. Like in order to show our else, we have to use ng template, which is an extra element we have to use, right? And on top of that, in order to use this ngIf, we have to also in our TS load our common module as well, because this is a standalone Angular application. So now going back in our component, if we try to use the new @if syntax which Angular provides, then it becomes pretty much easy. And I'll show you how to do that. So we will start by refactoring our code. So first of all, I'll go here inside this div, and it's so easy to implement. You can just write @if like how we use in our JavaScript, and the property, so which is logged in. So we'll say if is logged in is true, then you show some piece of code inside this. Then we can use @else, and we'll say otherwise show some other piece of code, which is this one. So we'll just take the code from here, put it here, and we'll take this one, put it here. Easy as that. So, and we can take all of this and remove this. So you can see in this piece of code, I'll just refactor it, okay? So I'll say format document like this. You can see how pretty it looks, and it is not cluttered in any way. We do not even need our ng template. We can just use if else like basic JavaScript, okay? And on top of that, we do not need even this common module. We can just remove this. Why? Because this is inbuilt, so we do not need to import the common module anymore. Perfect. So you see how easy it is to implement this. Now similarly, we will also learn how to use @for and compare it with the traditional ngFor directive. Perfect. So before heading over to our ngFor directive, we will just quickly see this application in action, okay? So I'll save it, and here you can see the new way if with an else block. So here if I click on toggle login, you will see the message changes. So basically our application is working properly. Perfect. So now going back, we'll start with our ngFor directive, okay? So I've already got the code here. So this is our old way. So you can see we use ngFor to go over the list of users, okay? So in this case, we are trying to go over the empty user list. So you can see we have got this empty users array, okay, this one. So basically, whenever there is no user, we need to show like there are no users found, right? For that, you can see how we do that in the previous way. So we have this unordered list. We use ngIf first to see if the length is greater than 0. Okay, then only we want to go and loop over it. And if the name exists, then we would show, but we already know in this case it doesn't exist. So for that, you can see we use our else no users here. And again, we have to use ng template to show no users. And basically, again, you see it gets a bit messy. But with the new way, it's really easy, and we can use our new @empty block syntax as well. So I'll show you how we do that. So first of all, let's go and remove this bit. So I'll remove this, okay? And again, I don't need the ng template anymore. So I'll remove this bit as well. But I need this p tag, so I'll keep this. Now you'll see inside the unordered list, we'll go and we use our @for. Easy as that. So we directly use, and you can see it already gives me like this let item of items. So basically I want to go over the users. So I'll say let user of my empty users. So this array, and the track functionality is also provided. So basically it track over all the for loop items you have got, like all the users basically, and it's really good for your performance maintenance in Angular. So here we'll say track, and we want to track our user.id. Okay. Now inside this, we'll open our curly brackets and we will put our code. So the code which we need is this one, user.name. So I'll just remove it from here, put it here, and then I do not need this li anymore. So I'll remove, and what we can do is we can wrap this inside this. So we'll take this, put it here. And then you can see now we need to show our else block, right? For example, if the users do not exist, which in this case is true. So after this for loop, basically this one will just have our @empty case. So like this @empty, and we'll put it here. Easy as that. So now you see in this one, I'll just format and it will look better to you. So I'll format the document. And you can see what we are doing. We have got an unordered list. Inside that we are using a for loop like our JavaScript, and we are going over all the users in our this array. Okay, we are tracking it. We are showing it, easy as that. But empty case we are handling using this @empty syntax. So you see we do not need @else block and all the other bits. Angular will do it bit, and if the user doesn't exist, it will show us this no user found. We can even check it by saving, and you can see that we have got no users found. But if I go here and change this list to my user list, this one, you will see this time we'll see everything working properly. So you can see the new changes basically @for, empty, and @if. This isn't just a syntax change, it's a real upgrade. Basically, it looks more cleaner, it's more efficient, and it also helps us eliminate the ng template as well. We do not have to use it anymore, okay? So everyone should basically use this new Angular template, okay? I highly recommend using it in all your new projects. But you can still use your old Angular syntax, which is this one. It won't stop your application for now. Now, if you want to see how to build a huge real-world application from scratch using all the latest modern Angular feature, I highly recommend you check out my complete Jira clone tutorial. I've linked it right at the top of the description below. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.